Hey guys, Jay Hoyt here. I want to keep this short and sweet. Jack Eichel is part of Vegas. It's confirmed officially. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell. You can always change your mind later. Let's get into this episode. What's on, guys? Jay Hoyt back with you today. Welcome back to, I can't really say NHL 22 because this kind of caught me off guard, and I actually didn't have any gameplays ready for this one. Actually, the video after this one, the NHL video after this, was actually supposed to be today's video, but instead this came out, and instead we're making this one. So there's most likely not going to be a gameplay in the background, but I'm going to list it on NHL 22 because why the heck not? But what you guys came here for is not to listen to me ramble, but it's to listen to what this trade actually is. So as you can see on your screen now, this came out about an hour ago, as you guys are, well, probably a few hours since you guys are watching this, but an hour from me ago. It's 11 o'clock, 11:30 in the morning, almost noon now. And this came out. So the Buffalo Sabres have acquired, well, let's start with the big part of this trade. I'm actually going to take it off cap friendly because this graphic doesn't show everything that is needed here. So the trade you can see on your screen now is actually Jack Eichel to the Golden Knights along with a conditional 2023 third round pick from Buffalo. This is conditional to Vegas. I'm not exactly sure what this pick is. But it doesn't say anything about it, but there is at the bottom all the picks. If well, we'll get to the later picks in a second here. But to the Sabres go Alex Tuch, who is currently at long-term IR, Peyton Krebs, so they got the prospect that they wanted, along with a 2022 first-round draft pick, which is conditional, and a 2023 second-round draft pick, which is also conditional. And it says at the bottom here, conditions, if the 2022 first-round pick is a top 10 pick, then all the picks in the draft or in the trade push out a year. So I'd assume the 2023 would go to 24, 2022 would go to 23, and et cetera, et cetera. So let's go over what this trade is. So Vegas, well, although they have to wait to get Jack Eichel because he's going to be out for a little bit. We'll go over that in a second. So he's going to be out for a good period of time, most likely the rest of this season. Maybe he comes back for the playoffs, but most likely not. But obviously they get a superstar centerman, right? Good, young, locked up to a long contract center, which is something they needed drastically, right? This team was good. They have a really good second line. They have good wingers, for the top line, but they had Chandler Stevenson in there. And like I said, he's a good player, but isn't a superstar level player. He'll get maybe 50, maybe 60 points on a good year, but you have someone like Jack Eichel that could push for 100. I'd rather have Jack Eichel in that spot. They got Nolan Patrick now as well, who's going to be on their third line. Hopefully he turns out into his potential and then eventually probably takes over Carlson's role there and moves Carlson down. But for now, they have three really solid centers. Well, they have two solid centers. Well, I think actually Stevenson or Carlson, I think, is actually out for a while, so now they're kind of lacking down the middle, but once everyone's healthy, this team will be really good. So, they don't actually give up as much as I thought in this trade. They give up Peyton Krebs, which I kind of expected one of their big-name prospects to be involved in this. They have to get rid of Alex Tuch, who I know they were pretty high on, but in this case, they have to get rid of a contract. I thought it was maybe going to be someone else in the lineup, someone else with similar salary, or they had to make up the salary, but then I also forgot he's going to be out for a while, so he's going to be on long-term IR probably for the rest of the year, so they can kind of do that, with this salary cap. Then they get two first-round pick, which top 10 protected, which unless they're doing bad right now, but most likely they'll pick it up here, sooner rather than later, and it won't be a top 10, so most likely that'll be this year's pick, and a second-round pick from next year. And they also get a third-round pick back in Vegas as well. So I want to go over something because a lot of people called me crazy for this trade. Right? I got a lot of feedback on last video that went absolutely bonkers, by the way, which is at, I think it's higher than 150 now, if I remember correctly here. It's currently sitting at 161 views in 5 days. It's got 10 comments on it, and you guys absolutely blew that video up. So thank you guys so much for that. But there was somebody in the comments. They called me crazy on a lot of the trades, and I put them up on your screen now to show you guys. I wasn't crazy, right? So the first trade, this was in last video. I'm going to go over it quickly, not necessarily nearly in depth. But in this first trade, Eichel was going to Vegas for Alex Tuch, Brendan Brisson, who was a forward prospect, Chandler Stevenson, who was a top 9 center, and 2 first-round picks. And this guy responds with, first trade, Buffalo says, hell no. His words says, hell no. Right? Okay. Maybe the first one's a little crazy. Go on to the second one. Peyton Krebs and Caden Korchak. 2 prospect skaters for them and 2 first-round picks. Second one gets declined because of salary, also not enough. It would not have gotten declined from salary because of long-term IR. They basically wouldn't even get any salary retained in this one. And if anything, they would lose salary because of 2 prospects. I don't know if Korchak signed, but definitely Krebs is. And also not enough. Look who looks silly now. They got 2 first-round picks in this trade. In the actual trade, they only got a first and a second and gave up a 3rd-round pick. So again, who looks silly? The third trade was Eichel to the Rangers for Philip Hedl, Chris Kreider, Niels Lundqvist, who's a prospect defenseman, a 1st-round pick, and a 2nd-round pick in the same draft. Third trade, and this is his words, Buffalo says no, third trade, Buffalo says no, we're shipping Eichel west. This is the only line in the entirety of his comments that actually was right. He was shipping Eichel west, which ended up being true. Obviously, Vegas, West Coast, well, not West Coast, but Western Conference. The only part he says right. Third trade, Buffalo says no, he said. Interesting. Fourth trade that I came up with personally just to try to figure out salary, and also I totally forgot about long-term IR and how it worked. But I said Eichel and Drake Caggiula, who's just a random forward, to Vegas for Dadonov, Stevenson, Janmark, a 1st-round pick, maybe a prospect, or another pick. And you said Buffalo says no. You said that. Patrick, I'll even call your name out. Patrick, you said Buffalo says no to all these trades. But instead, they get a player who's on long-term IR, a prospect who I know they wanted, a 1st-round pick, and a 2nd-round pick, not even from the same year. And they gave up a 3rd-round pick. And you said Buffalo said no to my trades. And also, the person that commented and said some very rude things that I removed your comment for because I don't want that type of negativity crap on my channel. Look who looks silly now. You called me crazy because I didn't follow what the insiders were saying. They wanted Shea Theodore and this and that. And yeah, look who looks silly now. And yeah, I'm looking right into the camera. Look who looks silly now. You do. But anyway, let's get back into this trade. And you said all of that. So I'm going to call you guys out for this. But what's something interesting, and General Manager Kelly McCrimmon said, speaking on Jack Eichel, he said, we are getting a player that I think is going to be one of the top players in the league. He's in the prime of his career. It addresses a need in an organization. When you look at what a contending team should look like, he's a big part of that. The only bad thing is, obviously, he's going to be out for a while. So he's also said Jack and his team have been working diligently to sort out the next steps as far as his recovery goes. And he said he will have an artificial disc replacement surgery. I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything about that surgery. Then he also says he believes Eichel's time frame for a return to be in the next 3 to 5 months. But this depends on the surgery and when Jack feels he's ready to play. So right now it's November 4th, right? So 3 to 5 months. The earliest we could see him back, let's just say, is April. March or April, which is right at the end of the regular season. The end of that is 5 months, which would be, what, June? So that'd be right at the end of the playoffs, right in the Stanley Cup, if they make it that far. Or, of course, it'd be the offseason, so it wouldn't really matter. But 3 to 5 months, he possibly could get in at the end of the year, depending on how he feels. And it would obviously be a huge help if they're already playoff bound, but who actually knows? But it's a great trade for Vegas. They didn't really have to give up that much to get him. For a superstar centerman, all they had to give up was one of their forward prospects, who obviously they were pretty high on. But like I said, in most of these trade videos, they have to give up something to get something. So they get rid of Krebs in this one, like I said, who I know they liked. But the same thing, Alex Tuch, I know they liked him, but you know what? You have to give up something in this case. Then also they get rid of a 1st-round pick from this year, potentially next year, most likely next year, and a 2nd-round pick, which would then push another year. So that'd be a 2024 pick. And then they also get a conditional 3rd-round pick in this as well. So I think Vegas made out pretty damn good for this trade. If he comes back and he's the superstar Eichel that we know, and he plays in that top line with most likely Stone and Pacioretty, and they take this team to new heights, they keep being in the playoffs, and eventually, hopefully, finally go make a Stanley Cup Finals appearance again, and then win it all. That's what this trade is all about. But unfortunately, we're going to have to wait for that. He's out for a while. Carlson's out for a while. And in terms of Buffalo, it's hard to tell. Obviously, a first-round pick, a second-round pick. You do get a forward in this one that was in the NHL, who hasn't really done too much this year. And then you get Alex Tuch, who will be back. I'm not exactly sure when. But you get 2 players. You get 2 picks. Not a horrible, trade for them, but, probably they should have gotten more out of this one if you're asking from a Buffalo perspective. But in this case, Vegas made out great. Super happy with this trade. They don't give up too much to get a superstar, and I could not be happier. But I've been talking long enough on this. Let me know your guys' comments and thoughts down there in that comments section. This was an absolutely huge news to break today, and I loved every part of it. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, hit that like button down below if you haven't yet, or if you're brand new here, make sure to subscribe, turn post notifications on so you never miss an upload, and don't forget, you can always change your mind later. But with all that being said, guys, we'll see you in the next one.
In the shadows.